Britain wants to take back control of its laws and courts from meddling Europeans. So as a result, it has put out an extensive paper today detailing how it wants to end the direct jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice.
Are you not being a little bit generous in calling it a position paper, Asa? So when it really is an amalgamation of certain options, as we've heard.
Well, steady on. The options are actually very extensive. You look at what they say on things like, we could be, like Moldova, perhaps. Which doesn't have to rely on the European Court of Justice, and if it wants to bring them in on issues of disputes with the European Union, it does so voluntarily. Or Canada, where it doesn't have to rely on, again, its own thing, because it's got an arbitration system in place.
But there's a considerable difference, isn't there, between the Moldovan case and the Canadian case. If I remember correctly, in the case of Moldova, it is actually the ECJ which has the sort of the supreme, the last say, if you like. And if it really is about taking us out of the jurisdiction of the ECJ, should we follow more of the sort of the Canada model, for example? Where it's a board of arbiter, if you like, who decide on any dispute.
Well, perhaps. I mean, equally there's the other option on the table, which the government's put forward, of the EFTA route. That is to say, the model of the European Free Trade Association Group. It means that, finally, Britain will have its own sort of judgments, perhaps, not necessarily subservient to the EU, but that they are allowed to diverge when they need to.
So, a little while ago, we had heard that it was going to be a bespoke deal that we go for, because we considered ourselves sort of individual enough, with sort of individual benefits to bring to the table. Do you think that's completely off the cards now? Are we going to go with an already existing deal in the end then?
Well, that's pointedly what Britain wants to make clear. It treats itself as unique, and so it deserves to have a unique deal to go with it, in a sense. And so these are all examples. They're interesting to point out in context, but then, for the overall position, it wants something even better, a sort of truly British EFTA or something, something better than all this stuff.
So do you not think it would have been a good thing for the government to do, to actually put forward a position and say to us, the citizens, that this is what our government is actually going to negotiate towards, rather than setting out a set of options?
Well, this is a problem for them, basically, the paper, because there seems to be no clear position. You might, I mean, you might be sort of thinking it's a no-position paper, practically. And so, at some point, I guess we'll find out what comes out of these negotiations. But certainly, when that emerges, we'll be there for you with the insight.